What's going on, everybody? Good to see you here. And yes, I'm a little bit haggard today. It was a crazy couple of days here, just getting through a bunch of stuff, getting ready for springtime. Had a big melt, had a big snow, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, super excited to be here with you guys tonight. Yes, I recognize I'm a half hour late, but better late than never. So again, my apologies for being late. As you know, we normally kick this thing off at 9 p.m. I was literally upstairs. What was I doing? I was reviewing a contract. And I do that before I send anything off to my attorney because I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I've kind of at least given it a peruse. And then it's something I can give back to the attorney and just say, hey, obviously read the whole thing, but here's a couple areas that I just have some questions about. Can you take a quick look at it? And so that's what we do. So the good news is that we got good news today that we are under agreement on a deal that was a probate deal. And so the challenge with probate deal, it is a very blue hat. You're right. What most people have no idea what this hat is. This is actually a vintage, this is a vintage yard sale find. It is a 1989 USA hockey hat. Really hard to find. I totally geek out on this stuff. So when I find this stuff in the field, I just get absolutely tickled because we're a big hockey area. And so getting a cool hat like this out of some guy's, forget me not collection that his kids are just basically throwing out and I can buy the hat for $2. Yeah. I just get absolutely giddy. So we're excited to be going under on this deal. It's a 1031 exchange. We named 3 other properties. This is the property that I thought was the best fit for the exchange, if that makes sense. There were a couple other properties I was looking at, but I was just kind of like, kind of whatever. But this one was like, yeah, you know what? This really is a good fit. So, the cool news is that, yeah, it's a good fit. It's a duplex, in one of the cities I do business in. Shocking. Excited to kind of get that deal done. But the reason I put unreal in the title is because it's kind of unreal. Yeah. Check that out. That's a hat hair day. That's what happens when you wear a hat all day long. But what was really kind of cool about it was the fact that, we still hear daily, I can't find deals. I can't find deals. I can't find deals. I can't find deals. It's because you're probably only using MLS. It's probably why. I want to see you guys do better. I want to see you have more opportunity. I want to see more deals come across your desktop. And I got to be honest, the first 10 years that I was doing this, I never had a shot ever. I never had a shot ever at an off-market deal. 10 years. So the biggest mistake that I made was thinking that was really kind of my only option, or that I couldn't get access, that I couldn't get access to off-market deals. And so once it was something that I really started to make the effort for and call agents and then look up and try and network with wholesalers. Just because it's a wholesaler doesn't mean it's a great deal. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that even though you can hook up with a wholesaler, the idea is you just want to be on their list. And then once you do a deal with them, guess what? You get into a select group of people. And the select group of people, guess what? Now you're actually in that select group that's actually closed the deal with them. And you can say, hey, specifically, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Do you think that every single deal that I've done with wholesalers instantly goes to market? It doesn't. I get a lot of them that come across my desk because I've done 2-3 deals with them. And there were a couple deals where I could pay up. I paid a $50,000 wholesaler fee on a deal. I paid $150,000 on a wholesaler deal before. $150,000. That's the premium that I paid. $150,000. And it was a $900,000 property. So what I would tell you is, and it's not like I wrote a check for the $150,000. Don't get me wrong. What I did was I put it under contract and I closed it with the bank. But this is the area that I think a lot of people make mistakes, is that if you're only depending on the MLS, then you are going to have competition on every one of your deals, and you're likely going to be the highest bidder or close to the highest bidder. And largely that means that you have less margin than the other guys in the game. That's usually what it means. So what's really interesting is that as this, continues to unfold, as this continues to happen, what's going to be really interesting is the people that have adapted their strategy, whether they've started calling Jen Stewart, who's an amazing vendor that we had on this show, who actually does a lot with wholesaling. She actually becomes essentially like an internal wholesaler to you, where she has her team making the calls, creating the leads. All you're doing is giving them criteria. There's not much less expensive of a way to actually do that stuff. She does it for less than $1,000. It's cheap. When I used her, I got about 80 leads. I've got those deals that are progressing, but sadly, none of those deals were ready to go now. None of those deals were ready to happen now. So that was kind of the bummer, where it was like, man, I'd really like to, get one of these deals done, but the people just weren't ready, and that's okay, but now I've got a nice funnel for stuff that I've got 2 more 1031s coming. And the 2 more 1031s coming, that's going to be what we're going to likely be able to do, one of those deals on one of the opportunities that Jen and her team worked with us to create. So yeah, I just think that there's a lot of opportunity out there if you're willing to do something different than just MLS. Now, a lot of people say, well, how much money should I spend on something like that? I mean, you spend according to how much opportunity you want to create, because if 1,000 gets you a few leads a month, and 2,000 gets you twice as many, and 3,000 gets you 50% more than that, that's kind of the numbers game. That's the numbers game that pretty much all these guys run, in all honesty. If you look at a big wholesaler, they're doing $150,000 a month in marketing to try and create the number of leads that they need. They have some bad months where they spend more money on marketing than deals that they create. And that can be challenging. But one of the things that smaller investors need to do in order to become a bigger investor is get in the game the way the bigger investors do. You can do it with limited risk. Again, I don't get anything for you guys signing up or doing anything with Jen. I just think she's that valuable to people's businesses. It's just one of those things that I think is, critically important if you actually want to grow your business and have far more control over what's going to happen in your business. So, yeah, I'm really excited that this other deal came together. I was a little bit scared that it wasn't going to come together, only because it was a 1031. I don't fear not closing a deal. I fear a failed a 1031 exchange, because they're expensive. They're expensive. They're kind of a pain in the ass. So they're expensive. They're expensive to have failed, because then you're going to pay taxes on that money. But you paid $1,500 or $1,800 to actually have the entire exchange set up. But yeah, so that's what I kind of wanted to share with you guys tonight, was just, again, if you want different results, you better just start doing something different. Now's the time when the market's not really sure what it's going to be this year, and how it's going to work and how it's going to operate. I think based on how it's going to work and how it's going to operate, I think that you guys need to be getting ahead of it. I think you guys need to get ahead of it. I really do. I just think you need to get ahead of it. If you really want to have a great year this year, get ahead of it. Start making relationships now. Start having uncomfortable conversations. It's just so important to be networking like this, even if it's not pressing the flesh and shaking hands and hugging wives and kissing babies. Even if it's just expanding your network and having more conversations with more people. Guys, agents are one place to do it, but again, they might forget you. They usually won't remember you. They're usually not very talented as far as agents go. So what's the area? Align yourself with people that are actually trying to get deals done every single day. That's not agents. Agents, most of them are pikers. Most of them, check in and check out, and, I'm going on another listing opportunity and there's 15 other reps or 7 other reps going. What means that they're going to win? And usually because retail buyers or retail sellers usually are stupid, The problem that you have with a stupid seller is that they're going to be like, oh yeah, well, yeah, I mean, we liked him the most. Well, did he have the highest price? Well, that was just a coincidence. Really? Okay. Yeah, it was just a coincidence that the guy that you picked had the highest price. And then they wonder why it's not selling, because there isn't actually a real strategy around it, like a true go-to-market strategy with a, funded marketing engine and a bench full of buyers. That's very often what happens. So what I would tell you is, when you're working with a wholesaler, their sole goal is to do a transaction. It's the only thing that they do. And they've already spent and invested a ton of money in doing a transaction. And they want to get in and out of that transaction. They want to assign that thing quickly and then be on to the next. So it's one of those things that really bodes better for somebody that's looking for that transaction, because they can be set up, they can be ready to go, they can be ready to pull the trigger because they've done their rent box. They know exactly what this thing's going to rent for. They just need to buy the asset so they can actually get the thing started renting. That's kind of the cool thing. So let's go back to the beginning on questions and come and check you guys out and see what's going on. Wayne Wong, good to see you. Josh Burdick, good evening, sir. Kyle Dorn, how are you? And your better half. Jason Calcebetta, hello, sir. And yes, Ned, it is a very blue hat. But like I said, it's one of my favorites. That's corduroy, baby. And this is the, late 80s piece that comes across here. Like, I'm not a fashion guy, in case you couldn't tell, but boy, I sure do love these, old hockey hats. Dividend Dave, good to see you, pal. Good to see you come back. Good to see you. Buzztune, hello, sir. Anna K, hi, Anna K. I hope you're doing great. Jim Van Tassel, hey, Jim, how's it going? Back for more after these amazingly long boot camps that we're having. I mean, just amazing. Sorry, I literally spent hours looking at a computer, and I used to do that full time, and now I'm completely out of practice. So when I sit down on the computer, I can't sit down for all that time. I'm literally like, oh, that's brutal. It's brutal. Give me just 1 second. Make sure this isn't an urgent message. Nope, it's not. Let's see. Hey, Mark. Good to see you, Mark Ashiro. Mark, I'm hearing that I'm supposed to have those videos back. We're supposed to hear those videos back in the next few days when I get them. What I'll do is I will put it on my channel, post it on my channel, but I'll also send it to you to put on your channel too. Mark and I had a fantastic chat just talking about the market, some mistakes that were made and things that can be done to remedy them, and then the experience that you get from having made those mistakes. So it was a good time. All-nighter, what's up, pal? Good to see you. Ryan Husser, hello, sir. Good to see you. Oh, Simon was live. Oh, bummer. Yeah, it was. I've missed a lot of his lives recently. I've been so busy this week, just having come back from the conference. And when we were there, we didn't do anything with any work stuff. And so we just had the final touches that we had to put on our taxes, getting our taxes wrapped up for this year. And believe it or not, finishing our bank reviews for 2023. The way that they do them is they do your bank review after your taxes have been filed. A lot of people file late. And so that's typically, it can be like a 60-day process or so. And so we just finished our bank reviews, which all went great. We were really excited. We didn't think there were going to be any issues, but it's always exciting to get to the other side of it and realize that there were no issues. So that was a big win. Yeah. Let's see. Trade Better. Hey, Trade Better. Good to see you. Let's see. Deconstructing Dreams. A financial journey. Howdy from Reno, Nevada. Good to see you. It was great meeting you in Las Vegas. It was great meeting you guys too. It was great meeting all of you guys. I really had a lot of fun. Was exhausted by the end of the event, but I did have a blast with you guys. So yeah, it was good. It was good. Had a lot of fun. I'm almost positive it's going to happen again next year. So I'm excited to see what the plan is for next year, but we'll wait and see. Let's see. Financial Firefighter. What's up, Jim? Be careful. You may never leave. I know. True story. Evening Lumberjack, are you planning for potential higher rates of evictions with added job losses? Are you saving any extra funds? So I'm not saving any extra funds. I actually did call last year for unemployment to tick up. So I believe unemployment is going to tick up this year. I think that we're going to have an unemployment issue this year. I think we're not going to have more evictions, but I think we're going to have more turnover this year than we had last year. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. My business is built for it. We have, good cash reserves. We've sold out of some of our single family assets. So we have some 1031s that we've done with now, new cash flowing assets. And so we're kind of getting some of those on board, which is nice because we're going to have, we're going to see a lot of rent increases on those this year by the end of the year with work and updates that we've done. So yeah, I haven't saved anything extra per se, but as part of the multi-year strategy, I said I would get out of my single families because they were just so expensive. They're so expensive. They're negative rents. They're negative cash flow on rent. So that doesn't make any sense for me to own that property. If I want to lever it like I like to lever a property, which is at least 70%. If at 70%, I'm not making any money, then what are we even talking about? What we're working on now is we actually have a pretty cool deal that we're working on to try and, basically get somebody into. Because we're trying to get somebody, we want to actually pass this deal on to an investor, because an investor will make this deal sing and they'll make a ton of money on this deal. So we have a unique property. And I like buying unique properties so long as they're unique for the right reason, not like people come up going like plutonium exposure. But I like buying unique deals because it gives you an opportunity to create value. So this particular asset, we actually we purchased to put a tenant in, actually one of my employee. So we wanted to put him in there with his family. His family has since expanded 2 more kids. Now it's too small, because now he's got 4 kids. He's got the same number of kids I do. And it's a 3-bedroom house. So it's kind of a smaller 3-bedroom house. So the cool thing about it is that, he's got an opportunity to get something better. That's a better fit for him, which I think is awesome. And for us, it basically gives us an asset that the main reason I bought it was because of my employee. That said, it was a unique property, and the cool, unique thing about it is, and we'll probably have to do a video on this because it's a very unique property. It's a property that was in a town that didn't have a whole lot of zoning laws until about 20 years ago. And so the person that bought that property took full advantage. He put a mobile home on the property to let his brother live there. He had built about 40 years ago when he bought the property, he built a garage. And what I mean by garage is, I mean a legit automotive car fix-it garage with a lift in it, 15 feet or 16 feet tall, so he can work on any truck that he wants to there. But it's a really cool asset. Now, the cool thing is that not only do you have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, you've got the trailer, which produces $1,400 a month in rent. You've got the mechanic building, which will probably produce at least $800 a month in rent. And then you have a really cool bungalow. He was a really creative guy. He was actually quite the craftsman. He and his buddy saw in the 70s, they saw a bungalow in Playboy magazine. I assume that they were reading it for the articles, but they built this bungalow that was modeled after a famous Playboy model, I guess. But that was done for this Playboy model. And it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool, outbuilding. It's got a loft in it. It's just a cool little building. So, the idea is for the right property owner, they could turn this thing into a yoga retreat. Cause it's about a 5-minute walk to a beautiful lake and river. And it's a nice wooded area. So lots of opportunity for this property. And that's what I saw when I bought it. When I saw when I bought it, I thought it was just a really cool property. I thought it was a really cool property that would, really be a great asset for folks. So, it's been a great thing for us. It's been a great thing for my guy and his family. But yeah, it's time for them to move on and get into the next thing, which is all good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working my first investment. Yeah, Jim, I think you're going to crush it. Much love to all the regulars. Absolutely. Good to always see you guys. Yep. Hey, Robert Farinelli. How are you, sir? Financial firefighter. I told the production guys I want to see how good they are. I asked them to make me taller. I mean, dude, I put my chair on the floor just to be nice so we could sit across from each other and we could look eye to eye. I thought that was nice of me because production told me that they couldn't make the magic happen you were asking for. Hi folks. Sorry I'm late. All good, Chris. Good to see you. Taxes suck. My bookkeeper hates me in January, February, March. That's true. That's true. Mine does too. The only downside is it's Mrs. Lumberjack. Crimson Knight. Tomorrow I close unless the seller's lawyer finds another way to screw up this deal last minute. Oh, have hope. Lawyers are great at screwing up the deal in the last minute. Jim, you're correct. That is a big ask. Chris Culp, I want Lumberjack flannel. So if you guys ever want clothes, I'm literally trying to get a sponsorship with these guys because I love their clothes. I literally don't buy anything else. This is what I always buy. This shirt's probably 8 years old and I just love their stuff. It withstands. I just abuse their clothing because, I'm out in the field with it and, doing stupid stuff. And, I'll crawl under things. I'll crawl, into crawl spaces. I do stupid stuff in my clothes and I could catch it on nails and things like that. And I've been lucky that I haven't done a whole lot of that, but I just love their clothes. Super comfortable, very warm. They actually are one of the few companies that has 3 different thicknesses to their flannel. So there's like a kind of a nice kind of light flannel. It's like a spring flannel. And then there's, like a normal kind of colder flannel where you can get away with just wearing that shirt and a shirt underneath like this. And then there's like their heavy duty flannel where you don't need to wear a shirt underneath it. And then there's I guess there's a 4th level. There's one that's like a fleece lined. Well, that's like a jacket. Like I go outside in the crazy wintertime with just that jacket on and you're warm as can be. Like I've been outside 0 degrees and that thing is awesome. So we didn't do the set of phone books only because you probably would have seen them on camera. So that's why I just put my chair on the floor. Was the easiest way to do it. Crimson, already had enough fun today trying to get a microwave installed. Why do old houses always have random pieces of wood in the wall to prevent clean wire runs? Yeah, tell me about it. So Robert and I are kind of we're in the same state. And so a lot of the inventory here, about 90% of it is over 100 years old. And so they run lathe, board, and plaster, and they just have blocks of wood in places where you're just like, why would there be another block of wood there? Like, that's just dumb. But it happens. Financial firefighter, those jackasses at the firehouse keep some on the truck when I have to drive. That makes sense. That does make sense. PE turned RE. Question. Have an owner meeting. Very cool. How would you pitch seller financing one property to build trust before you trying to get an old landlord's portfolio? He says his kids can't handle the business. So the way that I would pitch that is, you really have to understand like what their goal is. I think selling is much more alignment than it is like this, dynamic, one call close type of an approach. And so it is, what are your goals? And if he says, I don't want, my kids probably can't handle the business. So what I really need for them is if he's already admitted that to you, then you can say, I've come up with the perfect plan that your kids don't have to handle the business, but they can still have the annuity and you don't then have the tax exposure. So one of the ways that we can accomplish that is essentially instead of you having to be the landlord and do all the work and tenants and termites and toilets and all the issues that come with that, or having to work with a property manager that's going to keep on taking more fees, the best way to do that is for you to essentially just become the bank. I then become, subject to you. I pay you the mortgage every single month. You're the bank. It just shows up. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You're the first one always paid. And you get to be a bank. The cool thing is that that gives you a couple of things. One is how you structure that. You're still going to have income every single month that you don't have to do anything for. It's literally just your house, your asset that you purchased. It's just sitting there making you money. The second thing is it's actually securitized. You actually get a note, which is a mortgage. So if at any point you just say, you know what, I'm kind of tired of taking payments monthly. I just want my big lump sum. You can do a couple of things. You can actually take that mortgage and you can sell it. You can take that note and sell it. There's markets out there where you can buy notes. Or the second thing is you can give me the right to, refinance out of the loan. And then you get paid that in full. So it really kind of gives you both options. You can pick which the best deal is for you. But if your biggest concern is that your kids can't handle the business, let's do a trial run. If we do this one and it goes really well, i.e., you see that I make the payments every single month, you see that I'm upkeeping the property, I think that that's your biggest and best win. Now, what you need, and then just shut up and listen. But you want to be able to offer something to them, which is, hey, one of the options is I can certainly put you in touch with somebody that can better explain that from a tax perspective. You just need to have that person lined up. So that's why I tell you guys, have accountants, have lawyers. A lot of people don't naturally trust lawyers. So you're better off having an accountant that can explain the accounting piece of it. So that's where I have Bob Langworthy. He's an EA and a CPA. And so if I have somebody that has questions about a seller financing deal, I say, yeah, I'm happy to let you talk to my accountant, have that conversation with them. And obviously Bob knows the different points that he needs to hit. Because I tell him this is where I think it makes the most sense for them. And then he can have an honest conversation with them. So that's how I would do it, because I believe that selling is much more alignment than it is, convincing somebody to do something. It's about alignment. If his concern is, my kids can't handle the business, but they can handle getting checks into an account being equally dispersed to them every month, that's a pretty nice story. Let me know your thoughts. All-nighter. Curtis, Christian mentioned not mentioning seller finance, just negotiable terms without that red flag phrase. Yeah, maybe something to consider. Yeah, so I didn't mention it, seller financing. I didn't mention that. It was, do you still want the revenue stream? Like, do you still want that payment coming in on a monthly basis? And then just talking about how you make that possible, which is that they actually get a mortgage just like a bank would. They become the bank. They can choose to sell that mortgage to somebody else at any time they want. They can also ask for you to, that you refinance and give you a term for a deadline for being able to refinance. So I think in having those conversations, I think that's what makes it really slick and smooth. I've had a number of those conversations and I've won a lot of them just because they were kind of in that same boat. Some people are just like, no, I'll take all my money up front. Okay. They had something else that they wanted to do. That's okay. Yeah, fire blocks. I know, right? Taylor Stanley, if you have depreciated a property out entire 27 and a half years, is there no way out of a recapture with a 1031 or dying? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Because I've never owned anything 27 and a half years. So I don't know the answer to that. If we've depreciated it all the way and then we sell it and then there's some level of recapture, that's on the tax side. So it doesn't affect a 1031. When I sell, I can 1031 anything, no matter how much I've depreciated it. It's just, one has nothing to do with the other from my understanding. You can certainly ask a CPA for an expert opinion on that, but anything that I've depreciated, that's something that comes at tax time. That's something that's recognized on the tax time. That's on the back end, not on the front end. On the front end, I'm always doing a 1031 when I have a bunch of profit in a property because I don't want to pay any taxes on it. Even if it's just 20%. No, thank you. Robert Fernelli, it's not just fire blocks. It's a home built in 1894, just has lumber in random spots. Yeah. So what they would do back then is it was all rough cut lumber. And so you never knew when you opened up a wall what you were going to find. It happens all the time. Chris Culp, just don't offer lumberjack lingerie. Yeah, no, I honestly couldn't give two rips about lingerie. It's an impediment to what I'm trying to accomplish. Taylor Stanley, yep. That is a Smokey and the Bandit era hat. Cool. Thank you, Taylor. Yeah, it's awesome, honestly. This is a very cool hat. It is. It's very cool. USA Hockey, that old. I love it. Jim Fantassel. Gotta go on a sunset whale watching cruise. Gotta go. Going. Oh, cool. Have fun. Have a blast. Chris Culp, hey, on your tin kitchen backsplash, I'm trying to try a crown supplier, a crown stapler plus glue. Any thoughts? I don't like the glue. I like only doing the little nails that you buy that they provide. So I don't staple it anywhere. It's all nails, nail heads. Sid, Matt, thanks for the tip of taking the contractor during walkthrough and paying him. Looking in Phoenix, and he pointed out the foundation was sinking due to soil shifting. Saved massive money. We ran away fast. Congratulations. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. I'm so glad it worked for you, Sid, because I can see you're saying all the things that I say on a weekly basis. Unless you guys actually do something about it, doesn't matter. So awesome. I'm glad that saved you. I've had it save me a number of times. We only use contractors for our inspections. We don't waste our time with inspectors. The only time that we do waste our time with inspectors, there's always an exception, is if we're actually pre-inspecting a house before we sell it. The reason that we do that is because we want them to write the big, huge list of all the stupid stuff an inspector is going to write down. And then we go through and we take all the things that we want to fix and we fix all those. And then we basically have them redo the report because we're not cheating anything. We got the answers to the test beforehand. So we made sure that we took care of all of those areas that we were deficient. And we don't do everything on the list. We just have them redo the report because now we've updated all the things that he's asked us to update. That being said, we don't do everything on the list. If he cites something that we're like, yeah, that's 10 grand, we're not going to do that. Then we have the conversation about it too, where we'll say, yeah, I mean, we see your point on this. And, however, you can't write, we will tell them, we don't agree that you would write that this roof has 5 years left on it because you have no idea. You don't know. It could have 2 years left on it. Could have 8 or 10. You don't know. You don't know. So we just try and find inspectors that have actually been in the building trades where they don't have this crystal ball. They can look at a roof and go, yeah, it might have 2. It might have 10. Don't know. It looks okay now. That I don't see any issues now. It's 20 years old or it's 25 years old. I don't see any issues. All we expect is that they write that down because the fact that a roof is 25 years old has no bearing on whether or not it needs replacing. If it's been well kept, it's in good. It's got a more aggressive rake to it and angle to it. What are we talking about? Like those roofs last longer because there's not stuff sitting on them as long. Lynn Tang, good to see you. Happy Thursday, Lynn. All nighter. Chris, you may want to try mastic versus glue. Yep, liquid nails because of the heat. That's actually outside my experience, but seems like a good consideration. Yeah, we've used like the double-sided tape and things like that. I mean, we failed at a lot of stuff. That's why we actually went back to the nails, was because it was just easier. And then we actually just use a clear caulking on the seams, but it can be very, very, very minimal. That way it's not even something that you see. All nighter. I haven't installed a tin backsplash in like 15 years. I have experience, but not the memory. Nice. The NIG problem is that the wood forces me to cut and patch more holes with lead. Yeah, for sure. Andrew Mellencamp. Looking at selling a property I house hacked. I owe about $400K and comps around 650. Cool. I want to use the funds for another house hack and Bitcoin. Interest rate is 2.89. It's just the math. So that's just a math equation. To me, I don't think that selling anything to invest in Bitcoin, not an ideal I love. What you need to be more concerned about is, is that the right property? It makes more sense to sell it than it does to try and lever it while you're an owner-occ. Does it make more sense to try and lever it with $100,000 in debt or so? Because then you'd still be within the 25% or 75% LTV. I'd look at potentially levering it with a HELOC while you're still an owner-occ, if that still allows it to cash flow. And then I would keep that thing cash flowing because at 2.89%, you're never going to replace that. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't be in a rush to sell that asset. I'd be more inclined to try and layer on a level of debt that allows me to go do the next thing that I can do, so long as it gives me still reasonable cash flow on the other side. That way I can keep that 2.89% mortgage. That's what I would do. It's an Airbnb and can be a lot of work to upkeep and manage. Oh, well, then that's the difference. But again, I mean, I think Airbnbs are jobs. That's why I giggle when people are like, oh, you should Airbnb that. I don't want another job. No, thank you. That's work, dude. Airbnbs are work. So if that's the case, then you're really not selling a house. You're really selling an Airbnb business. It's really what you're doing. But at 2.89%, I'd be looking to say, again, I would still look at it. And if it is a house hack, I would still be looking at it and trying to lever it with debt before I leave, because owner-occ debt is cheaper. And once you get that debt on there, it doesn't have to be owner occupied forever. It has to be legitimately owner occupied when you lever it with more debt. So long as the payments still work, so long as the numbers still work, I'm not the guy to talk to about Airbnb, because I don't believe in it, largely speaking. I use them when I go on vacation all the time, but I have no interest in having another job. I don't want another job. And Airbnb to me is a job. Cleaning, people upset, I might buy a portfolio of them and have somebody manage it for me after I kind of looked at the asset and made the asset what I wanted it to be. But I have less than zero interest in being around for, I got locked out. Like, it's inevitable. Like when we were there in Vegas, the guy got like 7 phone calls about gate codes in like 3 days. No, not happening. Not a level of interest to me at all. Has Hyder checked his buy box today? I wonder, have you checked your buy box today? Jack Stewart. Jack is here. Jack's in the room. At least it's kitchen wall covered with a tin backsplash. It's true. Rob, nope. Pulled back to other priorities like establishing a stronger investment foundation. That's good. Jack is here. We can start. I know he's only a half hour late. I'm not restarting. You can't make me do it. What is the best product for tile over Formica countertops? Start over. Yeah. Channel 6. That's a horrible. Formica is bad enough, but then to put tile on top of them, like bad after bad. I would absolutely, if I had a house that had Formica and tile over it, I would just take out the counters, and I would learn how to do butcher block, and I would do it as a weekend project. Or I would look to see what granite's going to cost to do that. That's what I would do. I would never, ever, ever keep a Formica countertop with tile on top. Let's see. Simon's reaction was great too. Very cool. Yeah, there was much yelling out of names, and that's fine. I had fun. I don't mind. It was great bumping into people outside. It was great bumping into them on the strip, and when we were in hotels, it was great. We had a lot of fun. The only reason that I couldn't spend more time was, believe it or not, that actually was my vacation with my wife. That was the first time we hadn't had the kids, and so it was kind of like nice, because we go to Vegas at least once a year with the kids, and so it was nice not having 7, 5, 3, and 1 kind of always on it, because that's a production to move us anywhere and do anything. So it was nice, just kind of I wanted to make sure Ashley and I got couple time, but couple time away from kids to refresh, which is great. Andrew Mellencamp, great points. Thank you, sir. Andrew, you're always welcome. That's what Thursday nights are for. Come with any question. I'm happy to help. Wealth with rentals. Do you use cameras at your primary and rentals, and which one does the Tech Savvy use? Good question. We use them on properties when they're vacant, so we don't use them kind of ongoing. Ring doorbells. We're trying out 2 remote ones. One of them is Vosker, and I can't remember who the other one is, but we're trying out a couple remote ones. Yep, just for security on job sites. Chris Culp, a few of us went to an expensive restaurant in Vegas for the ORAT had tin tile. They used crown staples, which had more holding than the cone nails. I'm going to try soon. We'll report back. Very interesting. Yeah, I would love to hear. Don't sell. Hey, bud. Hey. Is it good idea to get a DSCR loan on a rental, max out to invest in another property, $300K in equity, then sell the property with the DSCR loan to do a 1031 to avoid capital gains? That is a good question. It depends on what your goal is. So the way that you don't have to go through that process, in all honesty, you can do something called a double close. Most banks will allow this, especially the small local banks that I'm always yelling at you guys to spend time with. But for some reason, you don't spend time with them. But you listen to Dion when you only want to shop when you only want to shop. I'm so yeah. When you guys only want to shop on MLS, you listen to Dion, but you don't listen to me. I'm kidding, of course. I would just working with a small bank that does a double close. And what that means is so I will teach you guys. We can talk about it next week. I'll show you exactly how I'm doing a double close. So basically, and I'll share with you all the numbers, but basically I've got in a 1031 exchange, you have a strike price, and that's what the property sells for. It has nothing to do with how much equity you have in it. So I have a strike price of $372,000 is my strike price. So I have to buy something that's more than $372,000. Now I'm buying something that's like a little over 4, but so for just ease of math, we'll call it 4. So if I'm buying something for $400K, I check the box for my strike price of $372. But now I can actually buy that property. But in this particular case, on that $372, I had $200K of equity. So what I do is I only need at 400, I only need 25% down. So I only need $100K, but I will buy it with the $200K down to satisfy that the 1031 exchange that I've hit my strike price and that all of my funds went into that deal and that they are then untaxable. Then I will follow it up with another mortgage behind it, where I will then take out that $100,000 of equity, and then that's mine free and clear. That's called a double close. And you can do them back to back. And I bet you've never heard that. And you're welcome, because I just made you a ton of money. Don't sell. I love the name. Lars, how are you, good sir? Just home from work. Yep. Long day, my friend. Riley, the AOK. Thanks for doing these. I'm in process of selecting first tenant other than family. Good for you. Do you ever select first applicant if they meet your criteria, or do you like a few to compare with? Any other insight? Riley, AOK. That's a good question. So I believe in that God joke where you're like, God, please save. You're in the tree and you're in danger of drowning, and somebody comes by in a rowboat, and then somebody comes by in a power boat, and you're like, God, I thought you were going to save me. And he's like, what did you think the rowboat and the motorboat were? He's like, oh, I thought you were going to do it with a helicopter. You just said save me, so I was just trying to save you. So the reason I make that comment is because so long as somebody hits my criteria, then that's why I have criteria, right? So I'm not trying to overanalyze and go, yeah, well, I really would like it if blah, blah, blah. If you really would like it if blah, 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 then you really need to change your criteria. But if you have your criteria set, that person meets all that criteria, God sent you the boat, bro. Hold on 1 second. No, I don't need that. Nope. Let me know if that answers your question. Channel 6 San Diego. LOL. Thanks. You're welcome. And I didn't mean to make fun of you or your countertops, actually, but that's a problem. Fix it. Rob, best product for tile, old guy REI. Ask Dion. Yeah, older guy REI. He's a master tileman. But I would never put it over anything. I would only, unless it was like, even linoleum, I'd probably try and rip up, unless it was like the old stuff that was just like sewed down. I would still put down an underlayment on top of it though. But yeah. All-nighter hider. Chris, using a pneumatic crown staples may dent the spots where the nails go. Yep. If it's pneumatic, for sure. So you may need to dial in the stapler and hold it back off the tile. Yes, true. Jack Stewart, I love your speech. I can't wait to show Cynthia maybe next week. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll post all that. So I think we get that. No, I think if you're in school, you get that. I don't know what Mike's doing. Mike's actually going to be gone for a few weeks. Sad to see him go, but I'm glad he's going to get some vacation. Dion's going to be gone a couple weeks. Sad to see him go, but he's going to be on vacation. I literally made fun of him today. I was like, honestly, I can't keep up with all your guys' vacation. It's ridiculous. Dami Ola. Hi, Lumberjack. Hi, Dami. How are you? Good to see you. Oofy is a good. That's the other one. Thank you. Thank you, Dami. Oofy is the other one. Yep. That's the one I was remembering or not remembering. So it's Vosker and Oofy. Yep. Those are the two that we're looking at. Steven C. Hey, everyone. How are you? Let's see. So yeah, thank you for prompting the mind. Chris Cope, all-nighter hider. Totally agree. We'll do some real experiments across cone nails, Matt's approach. Yep. Brad nails and crown. Yep. But the restaurant had strong things to say. A ton of crown as it has 2 holds. Yeah, I like the 2 holds thing. I've never had an issue with the nail. I've never had that being an issue, but it's possible. And hey, if you find a better, faster way, I'm all for it. I'm all for a better, faster way. David Roth, thanks for doing these. Oh, my pleasure. Why not quartz? Quartz is really expensive. I don't like quartz for that reason. It's really expensive. And it's not pain-free, stain-free like they say. It just isn't. I have quartz. I have quartzite. In my house, the people who built my house, because I didn't build my house, they put in a ton of quartzite. Don't particularly like the product. Yeah. It's slick. It's polished. I don't know why they picked the colors that they did. In all honesty, it's something that it's really hard for me not to upgrade to make it the kitchen that I love. We wouldn't rip out the cabinets because they spent a fortune on the cabinets, but we're strongly considering redoing all the quartzite. The problem is there's so much of it that it means we're going to have to spend a lot of money. It's just too big of it's a big nut. We might do it when we celebrate something, but because it'd be a lot of money. Yeah. Yep. So I don't like quartz. Damiola. I want to convert my 2-car garage to a 2x1. Okay. Would you recommend an appraisal before construction if there are no comps for the ARV of the lot? Well, what I would actually recommend is a construction loan, because I want the bank to pay for all the work that I'm going to have to do. And I want an ARV. I want an as complete number of what the property is going to assess for. And if I'm trying to acquire debt, I want to do that up front with a construction loan. So I've talked about it a number of times on the channel, but construction loans are the way to go. Most people have no clue. They'll go get hard money. I'll pay 10 and 2. I'll pay 10 and 2 and a 1 on the exit. Why? I pay 7% or 7 and change for a construction loan. I have 30-year fixed rate debt up front. Number 1. Number 2 is I know exactly what my debt structure is. And number 3 is I can always go and get a much more expensive debt. Why would I want it? I want to know exactly what that asset's going to be worth when I finish the work. That's what gives me that ability. Is if I'm doing a construction loan, they do an as complete price in the appraisal, and then they do an as is price in the appraisal. So you get both numbers. But I want the bank paying for it too. I don't want to pay for my rehab. I'm cheap. I want the bank paying for it. R. Freeman, hey all, good to see you. Wayne Wong, Mike posted today on his site. Oh yeah, he's on vacation. Cool. I believe it's already posted in school. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that he got it there. I haven't gotten my links yet. Come on, Mike. Dion needs to make up lost vacation time from his burr. Yeah, he does. At $3,700 an hour that he made. That we're down to we're in the countdown. I still haven't been to that house in about 10 weeks now. The last video that I had was the last time that I was there. All of the cabinets have been delivered, and so now they're installing all those cabinets. The only reason I know is because I got a notification because the kitchen had gotten ordered, the one that we designed. So I just got that notification. Hey, cabinets are being delivered on this date. I'm like, hey, super cool. So they're installing all those and then putting the countertops on them. And then the place, I think at that point, is ready for finished paint. So that's where we stand. The outside's done. The driveway's done. The garage is done. The windows got done. The ones that we needed to do. So yeah, I'm expecting probably by, I don't know if it'll be done. I got to ask, actually. I got to ask if they've done the cabinets yet. Because I know they were delivered on Tuesday. So I'm pretty sure they should be pretty close to done. But I haven't seen it. Haven't talked about it. The only thing I saw was notifications. So, yep. Julie Anderson, Blink camera from Amazon or a good deal with $100 per year subscription. Very cool. Thanks, Julie. I'll check. We'll add that to the pile. We have nothing. So we only have 2 projects or 3 projects that we're finishing. The flip house is going to be done any day. The jail, I was there this morning, doing a draw off the construction fund. The rough plumbing is done. The rough electrical is done. The sprinklers are almost done. And so we're just waiting for the alarm system to be done. And then it's insulation, sheetrock, flooring, finish trim. Oh, and the windows are all ordered. Kyle Dorn, my seller finance deal got delayed. I was structuring last month, but got 3 off-market properties from another seller I'm working on now. Come from a friend of a friend. Walked them yesterday. Very cool. Love it. Doing deals, baby. David Roth, we bought a new construction home in Massachusetts. Oh, sorry. We're in Massachusetts. I'm from Mass. I was born there. And the building installed propane heating and no AC. We are thinking of adding central AC mini splits. Quote was $20,000. Any thought on the ROI on this? I don't know what the building is that was built. The number sounds very high to me, in all honesty. David Roth, where are you in Massachusetts? Lin Tang, way to go, Kyle. I know, making magic happen. This is the way we do it. MLS is junk in my market now, and to be honest, usual junk compared to what I get offered to me off market lately. Turning over every rock. That's the way it goes. That's how you do it. Lars Nielsen saying hi to Hyder. Holy crap, the Penguins won. Ha ha ha, nice. Actually, that reminds me, I just have to check. I was actually, when I was doing all my paperwork, I literally came down. I was actually watching the game. What the what? Oh, they lost 2-1. Freaking hell. Bruins are awful to watch this year. I want their GM fired. Athol. I know where Athol Mass is. Very cool. What's the name of the locks that you use instead of Schlag? I use the Defiant ones. You can buy them on Home Depot, $44 a piece. If you wait for like a Black Friday sale, you can actually get them for like $35 a piece. They're the best. Home is in Athol, Mass. Yep. Yes. 20 seemed high. It is high. Waiting on some other quotes. There are some mass save rebates. So after rebates closer to $15K, you can do better than that. Yeah, you can do better than that because typically 2.5 tons of cooling, if it's only doing heat, but the nice thing is you might as well have it able to do the heat in case the main heat system fails. Like it's always a good thing. But yeah, usually 2.5 tons of cooling is about $9,000, and that's if you're using nice equipment. If you're using something like a Daikin or a Samsung, Mitsubishi is going to be a tiny bit more expensive. So at $20,000, that's got to be 5 or 6 tons of cooling. That's a lot of cooling. That's a lot. There's guys that will install kind of whatever brands. And I say whatever brands because, they're basically building to a UL spec. There are guys like that you can find that are, $6,000 for a 2-head configuration. And there's guys like that exist that do great jobs. You just have to find them, and you have to find them in your area. That's usually what you want to see. Julie Anderson. Now I want to see it. What do you want to see, Julie? Oh, why not quartz? Oh, my kitchen. All right, I'll post some pictures. I'll post some pictures on my Instagram. It's ugly. It's ugly. I hate our kit. I hate the finishes in our kitchen. They used chrome handles. They used black marble looking quartzite. It's ugly. It's just ugly. I think our kitchen's ugly. Having a stupid moment. Do I use an amendment or an addendum for rent increases? Obviously after the notice, etc. So either it's whatever you have. It's whatever your state requires. And what I usually do, Kyle, is I usually just do a brand new lease. I just make them sign another lease with the increased rent. And I do it through DocuSign. That's usually what I do. Yep. Chris Culp, Matt, were you surprised by the Canadian win over us in US in hockey? Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Strike that. No, I wasn't. Yes, I was. If we had the right team going in, if we had the right team and we didn't have the injuries that we had. No, I wasn't, because of the injuries that we had. Our top two defensemen were out. That's a problem, you know. I wish McAvoy played like that in a Bruins uniform. He played great in a USA uniform, but he doesn't play like that in a Bruins uniform. That's kind of frustrating, especially at $12 million a year. Rob, what discounts are you finding on Lambos? So they've come down a little bit. They've not come down a lot of bit. They just haven't. So like the Uruses, which I don't want. That's not the car I want. I want a higher end Huracan, or I want a lower end Aventador. The pricing just hasn't gotten there yet. It just hasn't. It hasn't. And for me, the idea is I don't want to write a check for one. I want one that's a payment, because then I can go take one of my houses and go, that's my Lamborghini house. So the whole purpose of doing it is so I actually get a payment. So I'll put, whatever it is, 10% down or whatever the number needs to be, but I want a payment, and I want rates to be a lot lower. But there hasn't been that financial crunch yet. There just hasn't. The only people that are feeling that real pinch are real estate brokers. And the problem is that most of them in my state don't own a Lamborghini, even the flashy ones. They might own a Ferrari, but they don't own a Lamborghini. The Lamborghinis that I see around where we are, those are Wall Street pros, hedge fund guys, mostly. Jack Stewart, what is a good trade to learn that you can apply to your real estate investment journey that has low time to learn? Plumbing. I don't like electrical because you can kill somebody. You can light a fire, that sort of thing. With plumbing, the worst thing that happens is a massive leak. So me specifically, if you're going to master one thing, like I got really good at the 5 things that happen the most, cleaning out drains. I got really good at that. Popping a toilet so I could change out the toilet. I got really good at that. Installing a vanity. I got really good at that. Fixing a sink. I got really good at that. Swapping out a mixing valve with the crimping tool. I got good at that. So I can do all of those things. I don't do them anymore. I don't want to. But those 5 things, each one of those things costs between $200 and $500 to get a plumber to come do. If you can do them yourself, you're eons past everyone else. Very often when you talk about, running new lines, or if you have a cast iron line, like you do investing in Pittsburgh, cast iron lines get rotted. They literally start breaking from the bottom because they rot from inside out. So when you have to replace that, you can replace that with PVC. The cool thing is that if you know what you're doing, it's basically 2 big Fernco's, which are basically these rubber gaskets that actually have 3 sets of screws on them, where you put them on, you screw it, and it closes it up. But you then are able to replace the cast iron in the building, if you will, and then just have it essentially be the outlet that goes from there to the street. but that PVC will, being able to do that job, that's a $3,000, $4,000 job. You can do it yourself for probably about $500 in materials in a weekend. So definitely plumbing stuff is cool. It's a good idea. Let's see. You're welcome, Kyle. Neil, do you find the construction loans to be difficult? No. Nope, I don't. Also, any issue with using cheaper contractors with it? No, there isn't. Nope. Those are great questions. Yeah, those are great questions. I have zero issue. It's a lot easier to do them. How much is ease worth to you? You can go get hard money and they don't really question stuff, largely speaking, but again, they're lending to you such a rate. It's very expensive for you. I'm 3 points cheaper and I'm locked in on debt and I don't have a 2-point entry and I don't have a 1-point exit. Do you know that do you know what an extension? Let me just look at, I'm going to ask you a question as soon as I get to the bottom of these. Hold on one second. Try being a Blackhawks fan the last couple of years. We would be competitive the next couple of years at least. Jason, that you got Bedard. You got Bedard and you got some other young kids coming up through. Mikheyev is a good player. You've got some other young kids, Korchinski. You got some other young kids coming up through. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's a rebuild. It's a legit rebuild. That's what it is. Legit rebuild. Lars Nielsen, Erik Karlsson played way better in the Swedish uniform than the Penguins uniform as well. Yeah, it pisses me off. Jason, I'm a Kings fan, and I expend energy to hate the Blackhawks. That's understandable. It's been a long time since LA's really done much of anything now, isn't it? Those two teams were two of the teams of the last 20 years. Multiple cups for both of them. Not dynasties as far as hockey goes. All nighter, I'm still bitter about Duncan Keith putting his stick across Jeff Carter's face in 13. Nasty hockey is unacceptable. Stop. It's acceptable. Kyle Dorn, do you binder strategy every year? Nope. 2 rentals are coming up for renewal soon. One is under market $100. One is $50 under market. And do you let them go month to month after the first year? It depends. Depends on the tenant. Depends on if I want to do the binder strategy with them. It's a big old case. It depends. There's no hard and fast rule. Electrical is easy. What are you talking about? For engineers, it's easy. Number one. Number two is liability. Liability. I'm always trying to displace liability off of my shoulders onto somebody else's. And electrical is a much faster way to die and thus has higher liability. Wayne Wong reminds me of what your wife said about cutting the connection to the toilet without shutting the main line. Yeah, exactly. Oh, God love her. 13 was supposed to be a complete that dynasty with 12 and 14. Yep, still bitter. It makes sense that you are. Jason Calasabetta, I get that. We are suffering for it now. Dude, we're about to enter in the suffering because the Bruins suck. Literally, Don Sweeney came on board and he's done nothing, absolutely nothing about creating more talent. We have Pasternak, who's literally going to get old. We've got Marchand, who already is old. We had Krejci and Bergeron both retire on him, and Chara retire on him. And how's he done with replacing any of those star caliber players? He hasn't. He's been an abject failure. Spend $7.5 million a year on Elias Lindholm, who has sucked all year. And I believe that he had one good year, and I don't think we're ever going to see numbers like that from him again. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like they're going to have to trade him and keep a bunch of the salary. Dami, thank you for the construction loan tip. You're very welcome. Check it out. I know it will be a better option than hard money. I haven't had time to watch the Kings game in years. Yeah, you're not missing much. They're not bad. They're actually they're a decent team. They're a decent team. They've rebuilt well. I like what they've done. If you're that worried about fires, use an arc fault breaker. Yeah, it's other issues that those stupid arc faults that trip all the time are the ones that don't trip. Like, it's all of the issue around more, somebody not checking the outlet, getting it wrong, somebody plugged something in. Yeah. Plumbing's just a whole lot easier. It's a much easier skill to learn, and it's just a whole lot faster. And if you're not an engineer. Julie Anderson, thumbs up. Thank you. How about doing live soon on lease renewals? That time of year is coming up again soon. We can talk about it. Sure. Jason Callis about it. I don't catch many Hawks games now either. I watch most of the playoffs and the World Juniors tournament every year. Those I make time for. Yeah, World Juniors is awesome. That's when you know you're a hockey addict, but it's also when you know your team sucks because you're waiting to see who they're going to draft. Guilty. Guilty. We watch almost every Bruins game, so I don't miss Bruins games, but it's getting pretty hard to watch them. It's been pretty hard all this year. And go easy on the staples. Don't suffocate the wires. Yes, that's true. That's true. That's true. Lars Nielsen, Matt, if Dubas and Sweeney make a trade this year, who does the fan base say the winner of the trade is 3 years from now? It depends on what the trade is. I believe that the Penguins are in position where they should trade for Marchand. Marchand's a winner. He just is a winner. And, you know, he needs a good centerman, and we don't have any of those. We literally don't have any of them. We don't have any of them. Yeah. Yep, we don't have any of them. So I believe Dubas, what he needs to do is I think he needs to make a trade. I think he needs to get Marchand. I'm not sure if you know this, but Marchand, Crosby, and McKinnon, they all do lifting programs off season. They all spend their entire off season together. McKinnon, Crosby, and Marchand, because they all are from the same area. They're all from Nova Scotia. So they all spend time together. So if I am Dubas, who I think is I don't think he's a very good GM, but he did help build the Leafs into what they are, and they haven't, it is what it is. But yeah, I think they should trade for Marchand. I think they should trade for Marchand. I don't know what they have to trade, but even if they traded like a first round pick, to get Marchand, the problem is that Sweeney, when he takes his first round picks, they're completely wasted. I don't care when he trades them away because he sucks at drafting. Geezer 6555. What is your percentage of lease renewals in a year? Good question. It ranges. We kind of track it a little bit differently. And the reason that we do is because when we don't place a tenant, we expect that when we buy the building, we expect that there's a high likelihood that they're going to leave because we're going to make some improvements to the building, but then we are going to increase rents eventually. So the way that we track it is on buildings where we place the tenant, we have about a 90%, maybe a little bit more than 90% renewal rate. This year, I expected this year would be a little bit higher, but we only have 3. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 people that didn't renew their lease this year. But it wasn't so one person, we were more than happy to watch pack. The second person, his job changed. And so he basically got moved 2 hours away for where his job is. Again, it's nothing we could do anything about. And then the third one was exactly the same thing. The third one moved to, I think, Maryland. So 2 out of the 3 were job movements, had nothing to do with us and the asset. So what I look at is also people that move and they move to the same market and out of my units, and that's single digits every year. And usually the reason that they leave is because we don't get along. Like they're dumb and they do dumb things. Like we have one guy that's coming up for a lease renewal in August. I have no interest in renewing his lease. He's run out of oil 3 times this year. He's retarded. Wrong word, but that's the way it is. Like he's just stupid, doesn't want to make any effort, not really interested, like just uber lazy. So I'm more than happy to watch him pack his bags and be on his way because he's just been nothing but a pain in my ass. Hyder, I cut the copper in a commercial office building one time, had to plug the water line with my thumb and ask white collars to find and use the shutoff valve. That was early in my career. Well, Hyder, what we typically do is if we're not aware where the water is, we usually shut it off before we do that. We just say, hey, we're going to shut the water off for 20 minutes. But that's funny. Right. Always fish hook outlets in the direction the screws tighten. Yes. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that, right, Robert? And that's it's a little thing, but it makes a difference. Let's see. Was the one person the group of lawsuit bros that tried to sue you? Was the one person? Oh yeah, I won. I beat their asses. I won. Did we talk about that last week, or was that the? Yeah, I won. That was last week. I won. I beat them. It wasn't even close. Was the one person the group of lawsuit bros tried to sue you? No, different guy. Nope, different guy. They had natural gas, so that wasn't them for that. But yeah, I beat them. Not only did they pay the $100 to try and get the $122 cleaning fee back to prove a point, I was literally goading the guy on the phone. No, let's go in the courtroom. I want the judge to hear this because we were working with a mediator. That's how they do it in small claims courts in our state. I was like, nope, I want to go in front of the judge. Let's go in front of the judge. Nope, let's go in front of the judge. He's like, you're tempting me, man. You're tempting me. Dude, let's do it. I want to embarrass you in court. I don't just want the mediator to hear this stuff. I want to embarrass you in open court. I want to make an example of you. Because I'm considering just actually, raising with the judge, Your Honor, that they're using the court system to be punitive, and I want to file a cross claim. So let's do it. Let's go in that courtroom. And what do you know? They pussed out. Big mouth. Geezer 655. Nice. I love the honesty, man. Yeah, dude, that's the only thing you'll find here, bro. That's all we do. I just share it with you exactly the way it is. I'm not always right, but I'm right a lot more often than I'm wrong. And when we make something that fail, like, we let you know, hey, yeah, we did this. It sucked. Don't do that. Or do it, but here's the mistake that we made. On the seller financing deal that we did with somebody, that deal was perfection minus one line. One line. It needed a line in the contract that said, if you ever exceed X amount of dollars, let's say $5,000, then the note will then be liquidated, or it will be reduced by that amount based on the then current value of the loan. That was something that now I will have in all of my notes moving forward. Because the problem is I had to go and we had to make extra steps. I had right of first refusal on the debt. That was fine. The problem is that we let it go too long because we really didn't want to take the house back. We really, truly, honestly didn't want to kick these nice old people out. The problem is that they were literally just like, they weren't paying us at all. And so I just said, okay, now you're mistaking my kindness for weakness. So that's the one thing I would have added to that deal, because then it would have been liquidated over time and then charged them a fee around that every single time. I made them pay the late fees. My preference would be to just get, loan reductions, but now I own that property outright for 130 grand, I think. And it's worth like 330. So that will sell next year. That'll be a next year deal in all likelihood. So we'll kind of see. All nighter and holding back the water with a 1/2-inch line for 70 minutes. That's awesome. God, I can laugh about it now. Yeah, it was, I bet you were dying then, bro. Flavio Macias. Hey, Flavio. Good to see you, pal. Geezer, what's your recommendation for somebody who bought their first rental home and are looking to buy a second this year? Make sure it cash flows, man. Just that my biggest advice is make sure it cash flows. Depending on the market that you're in, I would look at what vacancy percentages were like last year and what vacancies are like this year. One of the things that we love about our state, and one of the things that I will always watch, is my vacancy rate is 0.8%. We're leaving. Okay. You don't understand. We're leaving. Okay. I don't care. Leave. I'll find another tenant that will pay more in 5 milliseconds. If you're in an area that has 10%, well, then that's more of a problem, right? So one of the things that I talk about with Millennial Mike, my younger brother from another mother, love him to death. He's my little bigger brother. But one of the things that we talk about is in Gary. So the returns are good. Placing a tenant can take 3 months. 3 months. And that's 3 months that you're having to write a check. So that becomes very expensive, right? Now, if you have to place that tenant in 3 months, What happens if they're gone within a year and then you evict them? Well, you're going to be another 3 months. Like, you could have a rough couple years doing startup in Gary. That's just one of those things. But you can actually spread that risk when you have 10 units. Because it's like, okay, I've got 9 rented now, and I've got one up that I just rehabbed, and now it's going to go. I think Mike's got 16 units now, 16, 18, 20, something like that. It's right around there. So the only issue that you have is that vacancy. So what I would tell you, Geezer, is that's what I do. That's where I look at my numbers. I look at my numbers and say, do I have enough in reserves? After I buy this next one, am I fully depleted? The other thing that I'm doing too is having enough assets. If you have one, the only thing I always want to make sure, and one of the things that we teach in the course, and you guys that have ever taken the course can attest to this, we talk a lot about optimization, because too often a landlord gets from acquisition and then gets barely into stabilization, might not even be fully stabilized. It might be somewhat stabilized. And then they're boom on to the next one. I love getting from stabilized to optimized, because now my asset is performing the best that it can possibly perform. And a lot of times I can spend $5,000 and get that return in a year. And that's 100% return on that $5,000 capital. My other option is putting it in another property and making 8%. Why? I want to continue to prove to the local bank I'm a stud. I'm elite. I'm amazing at what I do. So I'm always going to have the best use of capital, the buck method. I'm always going to have the best use of capital in mind. And that a lot of times means just taking the units that I've got, making sure that they're performing optimally, i.e. that we've done all the things that we talk about in the course, which is like literally an hour of teaching. Here's all the things that you guys should be looking at to do in your units. I like to make sure it's optimized, because when I leave a property like that, I want to be done with it. That's how I caught so big and I have so few people, is because when we finished a property, we were able to be behind. We were able to be done. Yeah. Hopefully that answers the question. All-nighter. I went around the large office building and told everyone I was shutting off the water, forgot to do so. Well, then come on, dude. Had to ask them to do it. Had to talk through it with them on the phone. That's funny. Chris Culp, Matt, not sure I follow your mortgage note addendum comment. Yeah, so the mortgage note addendum comment is, we had in there that they had the note. We have right of first refusal if they decide to sell the note. The issue is that they got far behind on rent. I would want to force them to reduce the value of that note based on its then current value, because I don't want to have that much money outstanding to them. What happens if something else had occurred? We had a bill with them that was tens of thousands of dollars in back rent, because it was an expensive rental place, but also they had made partial payments, and they were nicer, older people. Like, I didn't want to squeeze them, but we had to do something. So let me know, Chris, if that makes sense. David Roth, where do you get a note for seller finance deal? I wrote one. I'm not sure how to find documents or an attorney to work with. David, great question. So we wrote one with an attorney. We said we want a mortgage that we can use. And so we contracted with an attorney. The place that I would tell you to look is 3 places. One is your local meetup, asking anybody that's done a seller financing deal, number 1. Number 2 is I would talk to an attorney that owns rental properties. That's the second thing. Talk to an attorney that owns rental properties, because they very likely have drafted their own version. And then 3, if you can't find either of the 2 of those, then I would just contract with a real estate attorney, because I bet they have one. They might charge you a fee for it. But if you can say, I'll use you guys for the closing, but if you just give me your document, I've literally said this. I was like, listen, I know you want to charge me for the document, but if you give me the document, I'll do all the closings here. And that's what we did. It worked out pretty well. So now every single time I pay, but who cares? I didn't have to pay for the document, and I had to close somewhere, and I closed there, and they're well priced. So that's what I kind of did. Let me know if that helps. Master Coach, do you submit 1099s to all your subcontractors each year? We send out all our 1099s to not to everybody. And the reason why is because there's some people that just don't get them because they're really set up as a business, if that makes sense. Like individuals, they absolutely get 1099s. The businesses, they file on their own. We have proof of payment, so we don't send anything 1099 to the businesses. Individuals, yes. Businesses, no. Let's see. Hi, guys. Agreed, Robert. I always screw my wires in. Yep. Wayne Wong. David, I think that can be done through an escrow company. I wouldn't go escrow. You can. I wouldn't go escrow, but the thing that I spend more time doing is attorneys. You need to have good attorneys that you already have. You guys don't want to be calling an attorney with a problem. It gets very expensive. You want to be having an ongoing relationship with an attorney that you can always kind of tap them and go, hey, just double checking, making sure this is right. Hey, just double checking. That way they get to learn your business. That's really key. Jack Stewart, learn buy box and rent box. Then you'll have your cash flow box. Exactly right. It is all about that rent box, because if you don't know exactly how to properly calculate exactly what you're going to get for rents, you are subject to lose. Wayne Wong, I'm in that situation, Gary. I got a 3-month vacancy and counting. Yeah, Wayne, that's kind of the ragged edge there. You know, you can get a Section 8 tenant, you can get somebody in, and that's the other thing of just, where did you do the build, right? Where did you do the project? Was it in an area where 9 out of 14 houses were already destroyed, or was it in an area where 2 out of 14 houses was destroyed, right? Like, people want to live in that area where the entire street isn't like people walking around the neighborhood at night and tagging stuff. Or there aren't gunshots, or the police don't go there, or that sort of thing. And I'm not saying that's where your place is. I'm just more kind of talking about the checklist. So yeah. And you can even have all of those things that I said, all the good things that I had there, and it's still taking you months to get a tenant. That is what happens. That is what happens. And that's, again, that's what I look at. I look at vacancies. I don't look at the trends of, silver tsunami and all that other silliness. Stop, whatever, just stop. What I'm really most concerned about is what is the current rate today. And if it edges up over years' time, you guys hear me say this all the time. I don't need to be faster than the bear. I only need to be faster than you. I'm a better operator than fill in the blank. I know other operators in the area. I know I'm better than they are. So they're going to be the ones looking to fill their unit, not me. My stuff doesn't last. We did one tonight. I was working on a lease tonight when I was late coming down here. I was reading a contract, and then I had to finish a lease, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to go down and start the show. But when I go back upstairs, I'm going to finish up a lease and DocuSign it to somebody, and they're going to sign. And that's what we do. We work with a lot of service members that don't have the ability to come and see the unit. So we want to give them a virtual tour, and show them the place. And then they're like, yeah, I need a place to stay as soon as I move there. And, we have them for at least a year, and a large majority of them renew with us for that second year, and then they're off somewhere else. So we naturally will have, could have a very high not high vacancy rate, but a very high non-renewal rate. And the reason that we could have that is because we do college kids, and we also do service members. So the service members are usually with us for 12 to 18 to 24 months, so that adds to that number. But, and we're honest about saying, hey, that's a move out for us, but we don't, if I stay in the 90% area, I'm fine. And if I have something where I see us get into the 80s, I would just we track those numbers, and I would be like, yeah, but only 4 people, 4 out of 154, or 4 out of 153, only 4 out of 153 moved out to something else in this local area. Well, now we're talking about, less than 3% of that rate. So that is something that we watch. It's like I said, I love that line of questioning from you, Geezer. Let's see. Love Bucky's. Cool. Kyle Dorn. My saying is ride the bike slow in the rain. That stand on your back is hard to get out when you ride fast. Okay. Chris Cope, all good, Matt, on the mortgage comment. Have to think on that. Yeah, we can talk about it in the boot camp if you want. That's the one thing that I would do is you could be as aggressive as forcing liquidation. I don't know that that's the right path, especially if you got a favorable rate. What you do want to do is make sure that you have the ability to knock down payment on it, because you're still making those payments. For me, being a bigger landlord, that's something where I don't need the money or the income so badly from that unit. I'm better off just going, yeah, that's fine. We'll write it off. It's fine. Master Coach. We just had another mainline stoppage, this time at the triplex. Tampons, wipes, and food. We inspected the units and found these offending items in all of the units. Cited everyone with a warning. That's awesome. You need to cite them with a warning, and you also need to let them know, most importantly, the next time this occurs, there will be a fine. Yeah. David Roth. Yes, that helped with the seller finance note question. Thanks. You're very welcome, David. Thanks for coming and hanging out. D Vega. Thoughts on Tom Cruise? What about? And yeah, I know he's a Section 8 guy. I'm just saying, be more specific. Kyle Dorn, dropping golden nuggets with the relationship with the attorney. That was one of my best moves. Someone took the course and listened. Last month we had a 3-hour dinner, and no, I wasn't charged for it. This is what I'm saying. Create relationships with these people that it's important to have, as part of it. Hi, Maria. Are your apartments fully furnished? No, never. What town are you in? So I'm in 3 towns, mainly in 3 towns. Dover, Somersworth, and Rollinsford are where I own property in New Hampshire. Chris Culp, most. Yes. D Vega, if you give me more info, I'm happy to give you answer on Tom Cruise. Geezer, what is a tip or something you can share to someone starting out? I've been doing property management for 11 years now with a company. I flipped my first one, and I'm looking to buy a second. Honestly, Geezer, hey, chat, what's the first thing, if you were buying a second property, what's the first thing that you guys would do? Let's have the chat answer. And then I'll answer still. But let's have the chat answer. What would be the one thing that you guys would tell them to do? I know what the right answer is. While people answer that, because I know there's a little bit of a lag time. Tom Cruise. So Section 8's not that hard. He is selling software. I would be willing to bet you any amount of money that if I took somebody that bought his course and did what he said, or bought my course and did what I said, that my person would still be in business in 5 years, and that my person would make a lot more money than his person. Guaranteed. There's no doubt in my mind. Yep. Matt, when you move into Vegas, Zuber's waiting. He's not waiting on me. He's not waiting on me. I would love to be in Vegas and hang out with Zub. I would love it. Buy box, rent box, get your boxes, and watch your market. All right, all you people suck. What is wrong with you? You need to buy the course. That's what makes you better. The courses are out there for a reason. You people are all fired. Hyder, fired. Lynn, fired. Jack, fired. Culp, fired. Dorn, fired. Master Coach, fired. Yeah, so these are all good tips. So all of these things that they're saying are all in my course. I'm not like take my course. But honestly, if you've got one rental, I know if you ask people how much money the course has saved them, it's pretty consistent that the course pays for itself within 30 days to 12 months at the absolute most. I can't give you the 10 hours of data that's in the course. And then the boot camp, there's another 25 to 35 hours in the boot camp that we do together, where it's basically 15 people and me, but it's live. And we record it. So honestly, my best answer to you, there's no doubt in my mind. There's so much data in my course. You do 2 or 3 things in there and you will save yourself money or find deals that you're never able to do otherwise. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And again, geezer, come and hang out to these things free. If you think you can learn something from me, then do the course. But come and ask questions here for free. The one thing that I would do, aside from getting the course, the one thing that I would do that I think is the most important, is picking just one. I would say Rentbox. I would say Rentbox is probably the most important. I think Rentbox is probably the most important. That next building that you're going to do, again, it just depends. If you're financially ready to do it, that Rentbox is critical. Too many people make mistakes on the Rentbox guessing at what that thing's going to rent for because some idiot agent told them so. And it's not that. You're in a unique position as a property manager to see what all the rents are and what stuff rents for, but you really need to be comparing apples to apples, where the property is located and all the stuff that we cover in the Rentbox. So yeah, for me, it's probably Rentbox, in all honesty. My phone is so about to die. That's fine. Let's see. Make sure it cash flows. Yep, absolutely. I'd buy in my same neighborhood. Yep. Rentbox. Property inspection. Yep. Sewer inspection along with that property inspection. This is all stuff that's kind of in the course, all the stuff that we cover. Here are the things you need to make sure you do so you don't make a big, huge mistake. David Roth, looked over Dover and Somersworth both have opportunity zone designations. Have you ever explored setting up a qualified opportunity for your property? I've already done it. Yeah, sure. Yep, already done it. And the way that it goes in those opportunity zones is you basically can go and get rent or tax abatement from the city. I just did one and it saved me $199,000 in taxes. Yeah. Matt's inner Trump came out. Better hair. and I can shoot a gun. Rob was supposed to be a surprise per Dion. Oh yeah. That's funny. I love Mike. Like I don't know that we'd hang out though. Like he does the golf thing and the running thing. Nope, not for me. I don't do the golf thing or the running thing, but I think that we would, I don't know what we would do. Like we have a lot in common, like just with our previous jobs and things like that. So I know we would hang out, but yeah. Rob, did Nyan capture the pressing of Mike's girlfriend when he went on stage? Did Nyan capture the pressing of Mike's girlfriend? I don't know what that means. Explain it to me. Yeah, Dover has opportunity zones. I don't target opportunity zones though. I don't. I still target great deals. D Vega, I don't understand how he says he doesn't pay for major repairs. I've seen the Section 8 deposits of 1 month, and so I know he really is in the business. Yeah, I mean, I think I know he's really in the business. I think that I don't know his business inside and out, so I don't know. But Section 8 is not hard. Somebody saying that they don't pay for repairs is just idiocy. Like, of course they pay for the repairs. Now, here's what he's probably doing. Well, the tenant pays me a profit, and so I don't pay for the repairs. Or when they move out, I don't pay for the repairs. Yeah, because there's a deposit there where the tenants pay for them. Like, that's just dumb. And yeah, I get it, but that's just playing with words, and I don't do that stuff. The other thing too is that depending on what it is, depending on your local Section 8, you can actually go back to them and say they destroyed the unit, and sometimes you can actually get a check from them. He might be in one of those opportunity zone type of areas where they actually do that. So that's not special because he's doing it and that's how you do it. He just is in an area that allows that. There's plenty of areas that don't allow for that, and they're just kind of like, yeah, tough, we don't care. So, that's where it was. I know I had to say everybody was fired. Richard Trong. Hi, sir. Good to see you. Lin Tang. If I could go back in time, I would do Matt's course even before I got my first rental. Thank you, Lynn. I really appreciate that. And she's not wrong. She's 100% right. Hey, Dion, buddy. He's making a big trip right now. He's on the road. Talked to my good buddy this morning. I know he's going to be in and out of this only because he's got not the best reception where he is. But yeah, Dion is on the road. Chris Culp fired. Yeah, fired. People, if Geezer wants to know, tell him how much money the course saves you. And you don't need to pluff the numbers, just exact, like, hey, I know that this helped me with this. That's all we care about. We only care about truth. That's all we care about. Save me a whole unit. Nice, Rob. Oh, Dion was sick all week and wasn't able to bust his balls. Yeah, Dion he was really sick. He's better now. I did yesterday's video with him, with Mike. He was better now. Jack Stewart, 1,000-yard competition shoots is something you can do with Mike. I would not do that with Mike. He is way more trained than I am. Oh, Mike Zuber? Millennial Mike, yeah, not Zub. Zub doesn't shoot guns. No way. Geezer, I'm convinced. Where can I find your course? Geezer. Please spend time with us. You see the community. We love having you here. Hang out with us. Hang out with us for a few weeks. If you still think it will help you, cool. You can watch the syllabus. It's on the website, lumberjacklandlord.com. Again, not trying to sell you the course. We always just make a big joke about it. Because, those guys out there, I hold all the secrets, like the one that was mentioned earlier. I hold all the secrets of how to real estate invest. I don't. We have a very good process in how we do it, but I'd much rather have you here, Geezer, for a few weeks, hanging out, getting your questions answered, seeing how the community is, because a lot of these people they're in the boot camp. So Farinelli's in the boot camp. Culp's in the boot camp. Jack was in the last one. There's a bunch of people in the boot camp. Lynn's in the boot camp. Kyle was in the last boot camp. There's a bunch of people in here that were in the boot camp. It's a huge help. I know it. The only reason I do it, is because I know it makes a huge difference in people's businesses if they set them right from the get-go. But yeah, just check out the syllabus, but come hang out with us. Come hang out with us on Thursday nights. This is what we do. We want to get your guys' questions answered. So Jack, to your point, I would shoot like that with Mike, but I would never compete with him. He's a SWAT cop. He gets range time way more often than I do. One of the things that will change for us for sure. Kyle Dorn, course and boot camp saved me tens of thousands. Not kidding. That's true. I agree with that. I think Farinelli's in that camp. I think Culp is in that camp. I mean, to give you an idea too, Geezer, one thing that I'm the most proud of is that people take it multiple times. Yeah, that is the name of it. Yeah. Yep. So the story of that, Geezer, just so you know, it's a real life story. I was sitting at the closing table, closing my very first property, and I literally went, oh shit, I'm a landlord now. What? Because I didn't have an estoppel that was filled out for me. I had no contact information for the tenants. I had no copies of the leases. I mean, just fail. And I remember what it was like that very first day. And I literally was in kind of a state of shock, just kind of walking around going, oh my word, like shit, I'm a landlord now. What? Like, I got to figure this out. And so thankfully, I figured it out, made a ton of mistakes in the first few years. When we hit the great financial crisis, I went from 8 paying tenants to 3 paying tenants to 1 paying tenant. It was scary. It was really scary. So we almost went bankrupt 3 times. So I share all that stuff with you guys, because if I can eliminate all of the big mistakes that I made in the beginning, I can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes, but I can make you a lot. Hey, Cody, what's up, pal? From beautiful Moses Lake. Guys, check out Cody Davis, Business Adventures. Cody, you and I got to catch up, my man. One of the things I love about Cody is he right-sized his business. Dude could have grown to 1,000 units. Could have grown to 1,000 units, no problem. He still has the most viewed episode on Bigger Pockets. If you guys haven't seen it, but the thing I really respect and admire the most about Cody is that he refocused, recognized that the top line wasn't the only thing. Yeah. So, and then was like, life, how I do life is more important to me. And I want to still do this and have financial freedom, but I want to change my portfolio. And so the dude went through a complete and total rework of his portfolio, getting rid of assets, trading out of assets. So just crazy respect for Cody for right sizing. Just good for him to have already been on now his second big journey in real estate, and he's not even 25 years old yet. So yeah, just good. I'm psyched for him. I'm psyched that he's happier where he's at now. I'm sure he's less stressed. But yeah, yep. I'm psyched for him. But yeah, Cody, you and I got to catch up now that I'm back and all this other stuff. We're back from everything. Jack Stewart, the course and boot camp saved me $20K with one project. Love that. Love it. I love long range competitions. I just started 1,000 yards last year. They are fun. Very cool, Jack. That's awesome. Yeah, we so for those of you who don't know, where I live is actually one of the world's largest competition combat range training areas. Gotta love it in New Hampshire. In New Hampshire, we actually have more guns than we have people, and we like it that way. We like guns more than we like people. But they have where they bring in everybody. They bring in all the 3-letter agencies. They bring in foreign country 3-letter agencies, and they train in this one area, and we're blessed enough to have access to it. So it's pretty cool. We don't get to use a helicopter, but we can do pretty much everything else. And I'm sure if we paid enough, we could use the helicopter. I have no joy in rappelling out of a helicopter. That's a hard pass for me. Jack, Matt, I give you permission to tell people when they ask. You can tell them that Jack and his jackassinisms saved $20K in value on a value add project. That's awesome. I love that, guys. I just love that. I love that. I love that the pain that I went through repurposed and that you guys were able to turn it into something good. I just love that. Ben Fopel. Hey, Ben, I'm trying to get deeper into value add and realize how important networking is. How you recommend networking with contractors, specifically GCs? I recommend not networking with GCs. Yeah, I don't network at all with GCs. In my state, a GC license is not required. I GC all my own projects. The most important thing I always want to have access to is the people that do the work. That's always the people that I want to have access to. Yeah, people that do the work. If in your state a GC license is required, I recommend you look at what it takes to get that GC license, because it's usually not much. Yeah. So I don't network with GCs because GCs have one interest and one interest only, and that is keeping you distance from the help so they can charge on top of it. And that's their business model. But with what I want to teach in my course is how you manage those subs. And then you don't end up having to pay the 10% plus the markup plus everything else. Cody found he could copy Dion's portfolio or his hairstyle. He chose wisely. I think Cody more picked my profile. And when we both have good hair. So I think he more picked my profile. Yeah, now we're going to fight over him. How about that? No GC license required. Oh, the Liberty. Love that. Yeah, no GC license required here. Nope. We can GC our own stuff. And so I filled out all the banking information today as the customer and as the GC. It was pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. The bank representative rolled through, or the construction liaison guy for the draw rolled through, and I'm explaining things to him, and he goes, "I thought you were the customer." I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You the GC?" I go, "I'm both." He goes, "Oh, oh, yeah, yeah." I said, "But man, like a couple times a month, I'm walking around really pissed off at myself." Cody Davis, upgrading to newer properties with higher rents and lower capex. Closing on a sevenplex, 10% seller down financing next week, built in 2022. Cody, that's freaking awesome, man. Congratulations. That's a great deal. That's a great deal. Well, we should get together and if you haven't talked about that one anywhere yet, or even if you have, I'd love to talk about it. Ben Fopel, sweet. How do you best network with your subcontractors? Thank you. You're welcome. So the best way to do that, Ben, is is literally just word of mouth with other landlords because they will have hired somebody for this, that, or the other job. If you see a construction site, yeah, Cody, lumberjacklandlord@gmail. Just send me an email, bub, and I'll try and get. Or you have my other information. You have my cell. You can text me. We'll do it. But yeah, how to best network with the subs is I'll actually go to a site. I'll go to a site that is, that has people working, and I'll go and I'll just introduce myself. That's how I did it in the beginning. I absolutely did that in the beginning. Yep. Then I'll also talk to subs and say, who do you like working with? For whatever. Jen Tam. Hi, Jen Tam. Good to see you. How is your husband enjoying the course? So yeah, so I would meet contractors all sorts of different ways. But if you think about it, right, if you really like working with a contractor, they likely work with other contractors that they like working with. So I got, he likes it. Oh, good. Fantastic. I know he's only been in one class. Happy to be part of the community. Oh, we're happy to have him. We love a community. So it's cool. But we talk to them that then talk to others. And so I can tell you, I had a plumber, great plumber, good furnace guy, furnace and boiler guy, but didn't really do HVAC, didn't really do oil, didn't do some of the things that we need in our business. So, these usually start at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So usually 8 p.m. your time. And then we usually go for 90 minutes. It's usually 9 p.m. Eastern to 10:30. So we can keep people getting to bed on time and doing beauty rest. I'm almost done. I'm just going to kind of finish this point. So the last point that I would make for you is that's how you make those relationships with contractors. Is we had this guy, we liked this guy, but we just saw that we had a gap in the business. And it was one of those things where every single time we had a problem there, it was challenging. And so I talked to a bunch of different contractors, a bunch of different plumbers, and a bunch of different HVAC guys, and a bunch of different oil service guys. And you know what's cool is I started hearing some of the same names over and over and over again. Those were the people I met with. And honestly, love this new oil burner guy and HVAC guy. He is awesome. He's bailed me out 3 or 4 times. Just really, really good dude. Yeah, really good dude. Yeah, really good dude. I see one more question I'm going to take for, and Geezer, great having you, man. Always, or girl. I assume man, but if you're a girl, either one. Love having you guys. We saw a lot of new names today. Loved having you guys come and hang out with us. We love this community. We want to help you. You don't have to buy the course to get help. You can come here and get help. If you want to learn it as opposed to having to go trial by fire, that's what the course is there for. Jim Tan says, we got 2 quotes for 2 different contractors. How do you turn the second contractor down without burning bridges? Ask ChatGPT. You can tell Kenny on Saturday if it's late. No, that's okay. Let's answer it. So here's what I would do. I would make sure that they're apples to apples. You do need to turn down one, and you can just reach back out to them and say, hey, listen, we really appreciate, I'm a guy. Cool. Thanks, Geezer. That was my guess. What I would do is I would go back to them and just say, hey, really appreciate you quoting this out. Frankly speaking, the other person really kind of listed things out. They've got the same level caliber of references that you do. You're clearly good at what you do. But price wise, it's a better decision for us there. You can always then show them the quote. That's something you can do. That's not a wrong thing to do. But that's how I don't burn the bridge and just say, you know, we're obviously going to do more projects. We'd love to have you quote the next one. And, you know, we'll certainly reach out. Yeah, we'll certainly reach out to at least have the opportunity. We'd love to use you. And here's what you do. Next time, he's probably going to be more aggressive in pricing. Okay. And if his references are good and if his pricing is in line with the other guys, guess what you do? You use him. And now you got two contracts. Then you see the quality of their jobs. And if one of them's a 10 and one of them's a 9, and then you're trading off in value, now you've got a second person to do it. So I have 2 plumbers. That's how I got 2 plumbers. It's how I got 2 electricians. It's how I got 2 architects. It's how I got 3 or 4 handyman guys that come do stuff. It's how I have 3 sets of carpenters. It's how I have a couple different floor guys. All of these things are the options that I have because I stayed in contact with them. I let them know, hey, maybe not on this one, but definitely want to give you a shot on the next one. As a contractor, I love to see or know other numbers to know where my prices stand. That's exactly right. Hyder's exactly right. So I put myself in their shoes, right? I don't want to just hear I lost. I want to hear, hey, so we decided to go with somebody else. They were, they were significantly cheaper. They were this much cheaper than you, and they had the same caliber of references. And quite frankly, maybe it's somebody that gave you that reference for them where you're just like, I knew them, I know them better. So I already trusted them more. But that being said, it's not going to work out on this one. However, I'd love to stay in touch. We never know what the future holds. We know we're going to do more projects. And so we'd love to have the opportunity to at least have you, go down this path with us again. I understand if we don't pick you for that one, that you're not going to want to do business with us. I understand. And literally just take it right off the shelf. Hey, I know you're not going to want to do business with if we don't use you on the second one. We would like to try to get to using you, but we wanted to share with you what this pricing was just to kind of give you an idea of what the difference is. Jen, the question I have for you is how big was the difference in the price quotes? What was one price and what was the other price? And I'll wait for your answer because I want to know this. Wow, from late to 2 hours. That's funny. Now I know my wife's asleep upstairs. Ben Fopel, thanks for all the value you bring, Matt. You're very welcome. My 2-month-old and I are enjoying listening to you during her night feed. Awesome. That is awesome. I can't tell you how much I literally had something in my ear. That way I wouldn't wake up any of my 4 babies, any of the 4 kids. A few thousand. Yeah, but give me the overall number. Like, is it one guy was 10 and one guy was 14, or was one guy 20 and the other guy was 22? But one quote was more detailed than the other with the work to be done. And that can be, the funny thing is, that can be both ways. That can mean the guy's detail oriented, one, or it can mean he's a professional quote writer and that his work isn't particularly good, but boy, does he know how to write a quote. But you'll find out. You'll find out as you go through the process. But yeah, give me the overall number if you want to give me the overall number. So if one's like 10 and 12, okay, it's 20% difference. 43 versus 46. Oh yeah. I mean, when you're talking those numbers, it's so unbelievably close. Yeah. Yeah, that's really close. I mean, that number you're talking is within 5%. So I get it. I get choosing the person at 43. I get that. The only thing that I would do is I would share that number with the guy at 46, because he might come back and say, well, I'll do it for 43. And you can say, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But if it's, and here's how you negotiate. I appreciate that. Hyder, I know. The one thing that I would say is one at 43, one at 46. If the guy comes back at 46 and says, I'll do it for 43, you can say, I can appreciate that, but I don't want you to apologize for your number. You use numbers to get there. That being said, it also wouldn't make sense for me to change from him to you for getting the same price. That's what burned you a bridge. That's what burned you a bridge. So hopefully this stuff is helpful to you guys. I know it was, based on a number of people saying how helpful it was. Guys, always great to hang out with you. I really appreciate the time. It is always great to spend time with you guys. And boot camp this Saturday, 8 p.m. We have a lot to cover. We're going to go through, one of the students is actually going to go through what they did in rehabbing a unit, and we're going to make some fixes to it because he did all that work without us doing it. And that's okay. That's completely fine. But we want to jump on with him, use it for the group's benefit. He's He's humble enough, and I get it. Like, I wouldn't want to share all my mistakes with a group of people. But he's going to show us exactly what where is. We're going to fine tweak it. We're going to make it better for him, save him some money, and get him a better exit. So, or an entrance for that matter, for getting into that unit after the repairs are done. Guys, have a fantastic rest of your week. I really appreciate spending time with you guys. Always a good time. Hyder, appreciate you, man, for moderating. Appreciate you. But yeah, we'll see you guys on Sunday in the in boot camp, and you'll see something from me and Cody the next week or two, because I'll spend some time with them, because I can't wait to hear about this 7-plex. Guys, take care. Thanks again. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.